Okay, so this is the chapter 1 review for the test, and I'm just going to give you some problems and we're going to talk about them. The first thing is you're going to write an algebraic expression for a verbal, okay? So I'm going to put write an algebraic expression. That means we're going to have numbers and letters, correct? Okay, so write an algebraic expression. So number one, I might say the sum of 14 and a number. The sum of 14 and a number. And what would you write then for that one, Chuck? What's that? All right, how would I write it in mathematical terms? 14 times x? 14. Caden?
14 plus x.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you. 14 plus x, isn't it? The sum. How would it be 14 times x? What word would I have used? Product. I use product, right, Chuck? All right. So now I'm going to say the product. Let's try that one. The product of 3 times a number and 7. Okay? How do I write the product of 3 times a number and 7? Allie? 3 times 7x. Can she write it like that? She said 3 times 7x. Can she write it like that? She can, because multiplication is commutative and associative, right? However, could you have written it like 3 times the number 3x times 7? Yes, that's probably what I would have said. But they're both the same, aren't they? Because it's commutative and associative, correct? All right. The quotient of 8 and twice a number. The quotient of 8 and twice a number. Tater, how do you do that? We got to do better than this. Ashley? 8 divided by 2x. Okay? I prefer this way and not the elementary. Tater, do you understand that?
Yeah.
You need to learn those. All right. So that's write an algebraic expression. All right. The next thing is to tell you to evaluate, and we're going to use the order of operations. So we're on number 3, correct? No, we're on number 4, right? 4? All right, 4. So let's say that I have 25 minus 6 divided by 3 plus 18. Would you please do that problem? Here, so what do I do first? What's that? Division. So I have 25 subtract what? 2 plus 18. Now what do I do first, Tirsa, or next? Louder, please.
Left to right, 25 minutes.
Which is 23 plus 18, which I believe is what? 41. Okay? How about this one? 32 divided by 4 times 6 minus 2. Okay? 34 divided by 4 times quantity 6 minus 2. What do I do first, Tater? What's that? I do not believe that. Divide. So what do I do first? Tell me what to do.
32 divided by 4.
Which is
8.
8. So now I have 8 times 6 minus 2. Now, what should it be done probably before that?
Parentheses.
The parentheses. But does it matter in this case? No. So what is 6 minus 2?
4.
4. So now I have 8 times 4, which is what?
32.
Chuck, do you have any questions about that? Okay? Alright. Now we're going to use the same, only I'm going to change this. Can I erase? Are we ready? I'm going to do the same, only I'm going to give you values like this. Evaluate when x equals a negative 2, y equals 3, and z equals 5. Okay? So what number am I on? 6? Alright, 6. So I'm going to have 3z plus x minus y times z. Okay, the first thing I do is substitute in, correct? So I take 3 times 5 plus a negative 2 minus 3, 5 on the outside, correct? So what is done first? Caden?
Parentheses.
Okay, I do the parentheses first. Can I do this multiplication first too? Because it's away from it? I can't, it doesn't hurt anything. So what is 3 times 5? 15 plus, and then I'm going to change this to plus and negative, right? So what's in parentheses?
Negative 2 plus negative
Which is a negative 5, correct? Times 5. Actually, what is a negative 5? We do multiplication next, right? What's a negative 5 times 5? That's right. So I have that. Notice how I keep bringing my numbers down, and now I can take 15 plus a negative 25 is what, Chuck? Negative 10. All right? Two xy minus x squared. I substitute in, I have 2 times the negative 2 times 3 minus, what do I do about the x squared deal? Okay, it's actually a negative 2 quantity squared, right? As she said, a negative 2 times a negative 2. Very good, Tirsa. Alright, so what do I get when I multiply these 3 numbers together? Allie? When I multiply these 3 together? Negative 12. And Tirsa, since you already said it, what is the negative 2 times the negative 2? 4. But it does not change this subtraction sign right here. That does not change, does it? Okay? So now I'm going to change it to addition, right? Change it to addition for me, Tater.
Negative 12 plus a negative
And that would be what, Tater?
16. Negative 16.
Negative 16. Any questions? Okay, folks, this next part scares me. It is multiple choice. Excuse me, it's not multiple choice, it's matching, so all the properties are there, but I want to match the properties. So I'm going to say, tell me the properties. You do not have to spell because they're on there, but this is a part that a lot of students miss, okay? So I'm on what, 8? Okay, so I'm just gonna write some things down. For example, I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna start with 7 times e plus 4, and that equals 7e plus 28. Okay, who can tell me, well, I'm not going to say who can tell me. Ashley, can you tell me the property that is?
That would be multiplicative identity.
That is not the multiplicative identity. Kaden,
Distributive.
this is called the distributive property, Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's one of the biggies, so you know I'm going to have it on there. It means that I distribute through with that number, correct? We're going to use it a lot in the future. Questions about that? 36 times 1 equals 36. Ryan,
That multiplication identity.
yes, it is the identity. We write it like this, the identity, I don't know if she told you this, but of multiplication. And but notice I put the multiplication in parentheses, right? Do you understand that, Allie? Well, good. How about this one? 7 times 0 equals 0. No. Identity, you have to get what you started with. We started with 7, we did not get 7, we got 0. Who knows this one?
Oh, it's
Ashley?
property of 0.
It's multiplication property of 0. So I do it like this, the 0 property of multiplication. Actually, I forgot property. We do have to put property on that one. Actually, no, I will accept this. That on the test, it'll be 0 property of multiplication, okay? I'm a little bit more stingent when I'm writing them out, you know. How about this one? X squared plus 2x squared plus 5. This is in parentheses equals parentheses x squared plus 2x squared plus 5. Whoops. Let me redo this. I forgot to put my plus 5. There we go. Okay. What is this one? Yes.
Association,
Of what?
multiplication,
Of what?
multiplication,
Try again.
addition.
Addition. The associative of, now they're both going to be on there, Allie. So it's very easy, just pick the other one because you see the word associative, you're excited, you just throw it down. Okay, so be careful about that. It has to be of addition, right? All right, how about this one? 5 parentheses 4 plus x equals 5 parentheses x plus 4. Ashley,
Commutative
it's commutative of what?
addition.
All right, now let's talk about this one for just a minute. The reason it's commutative is I switched the 4 and the x, right? I didn't switch the grouping, did I? I just switched the 4 and the x. And it's not multiplication. I know it's 5 times that, but it's actually the addition that's becoming that, right? So that's what we want to make sure of. All right? Any questions about it? Chuck, do you have a question about that? Okay, to me, this is where a lot of students really struggle on the test. Okay, so Tater, you have a question? You sure? All right. Remember, those are matching, and it's very easy to just put the one that looks like it. You got to be careful on that. All right. The next says simplify. Simplify. And what number am I on?
13.
13. Three times quantity x plus 7. Would you simplify that, please, for me? This section is also one that students struggle with. Ryan, what'd you get?
3x plus 20.
All right, what property did I use?
Distributive.
Very good, the distributive property. Excellent. Chuck, do you understand that? Chuck, do you understand that? I distribute the 3 to the x and to it's times the quantity, right? And the 7. All right? Now, can I add 3x plus 21? They are not like. Okay? They are not like. So now let's take a look at this one. 4f minus 7 plus 9f. Okay? Now, do you see any like terms there? Yes, Kaden.
4f and 9.
All right, so the first thing before we start moving around, I must do what? Well, I have to group them, but the first thing I have to do is change subtraction to addition, because you can't move anything until it's all addition. There is no commutative property of subtraction. So I change this to plus a negative, and now what I do is what he said. I take 4f plus 9f plus a negative 7. And what is 4f plus 9f, Tater? 13f plus a negative 7. And is that my final answer? Yes, I cannot add those two together. They are not like. Okay? All right, what about this one? A negative 12x minus 7y plus 9x minus 3y. Okay? Now I got two sets of variables, don't I? What should I do first?
Subtraction to addition.
Change subtraction to addition. So I go plus a negative, correct? Now I move things around and I put the x's together. Tirsa, do you understand that? And what properties am I using when I move them around? Commutative. All right, that's a negative 3. It's kind of mumbled here. I could try to do it a little better. Okay. Now, what is a negative 12x plus 9x? Ashley? Negative 3x. And Chuck, what is a negative 7y plus a negative 3y? Negative 10y. Okay. And I cannot add those together. They are not like. Do you agree or disagree? All right. So now, this is the hardest one on the test. It's something like this. 7 plus 5 times 3n plus 2 minus 6n. Okay? And so the reason that this is hard is, number one, is we have a lot of properties happening. We got the distributive property that needs to happen. We have the commutative property that needs to happen, and we have the associative property that needs to happen, right? So if we're looking at all this, so the first thing I should do is what? Distribute the 5 through. So I have 7 plus 15n, and I got to take it to that too, don't I? Plus what? 10 plus, and I do a negative 6n. Remember, I'm going to move things around, correct? So I want to change it to addition. All right, now it's a little bit easier, isn't it? What goes together? Oh, this is 15, not x, guys. This is 15 what? 10. So yeah, this goes with this, doesn't it? So I'm going to put 15n plus a negative 6n plus 7 plus 10. And what is 15n plus a negative 6n? 9n. It's positive, isn't it? And 7 plus 10? 17. And I leave it like that. Do not put those together. I have some students in the past, they get confused, so they just put them all together and they miss every single one of these. They are not like, so they cannot be put together. Allie, do you understand that? Okay, I'm going to erase. We ready? Okay. So I have this I have this rectangular box, right? I'll draw it. Okay? And the front of it is 42.42 inches. Okay? The side of it is 28.3 inches. And then the top of it is, let's say, 37.68 inches. Okay? All right. Do we got that? How would I find the volume of this, Ryan? I would multiply all of it. And if I did, I would get this number to that many places. All right? 45,000. Okay. This is about precision and accuracy. What number am I on? 17. I want to know what my answer is to round this. This is what you have on your calculator screen. How would I round this? To the nearest what? Why 10th, Ashley?
Because the rest of them are in
Two of them are in hundredths, one is in 10. No. Ashley was right when she said, I'm going to round this to the nearest 10th. And here's why. You take the least amount of digits and you look at that one, and that's what you round it to. Because the accuracy on it is not accurate if one of them is to the 10th. They have to all be to the 10th. Now that doesn't mean that I have to round these to the 10th before I multiply. I can still multiply it out, but my answer has to be in 10th. So this would be in inches cubed. Do you understand that? Okay? Now, one thing that's different is if I do money. For example, okay, you go out and you buy a pizza that's $28.58. All right? And you want to share this between 3 people. Okay? All right? Now, since it's money, what do we round it to? The nearest hundredth. So I would take 28.58 and I would divide by 3. Now, you have a calculator, you can do that. And it is $9. This is what my calculator says. Okay? So what would I charge each person? Caden? $9.53. Now you're going to have some money left over, right? That'd probably be just part of the tip, right? Do we have any questions on that? Any questions? See how that works? All right. So money's different, isn't it? We round to the nearest hundred regardless, correct? All right. Money's always different. It rules the roost, doesn't it? Okay, so let's say that I have this relation. Okay. Would you tell me the set of domain? This would be number 19. I want to know what the domain is. Chuck? If a number is listed twice, do I have to list it twice? No. Can I? Would Mr. Ellis check this wrong? Mr. Ellis would check this wrong. Why? You gotta have the squigglies. A domain is a set. Alright? So let's do the range. Hopefully we'll get this one right. What's the range? Allie? 2, 3, 8, 5. Does it have to be in order? No. No. So how would I do a mapping on this? A mapping. How would I do a mapping on this? Yes, Ashley.
You would draw 2 boxes,
2 ovals, right? Not boxes, but ovals, right? I would call them ovals, right?
and then you put the domain in 1 and the range in 1.
Okay, I'm going to make them a little bigger because I don't think I'm going to get on there. So I would do an oval here, right? And an oval here. And I would go a -3, 0, 1, 4. It doesn't matter what order, right? And then 2, 3, 8, 5, right? And then I would just match it, right? So -3, 2, 0, 3, 1, 8, and 4, 5. Is there anything missing? Allie? Yeah, this has to be X and this has to be Y. Could you have domain and range? You can have either one, but you got to have something up there. And then we would graph it, okay? And I'm going to graph it. Do you know how to graph? So I would do a -3, 2, right? I would do 0, 3, 1, 8, and 4, 5, right? And I would graph it. That's what it would look like graph. That would be your next one, right? Questions? So, is this a function, yes or no? It is. Because all the x's have different y's, correct? Any questions about that? Okay. Are we good so far? Okay, so now, what? If f of x equals 7x plus 8, and g of x equals x squared minus 5, find, what number am I on? 19? 20, thank you. Find 20. G of a -4. Would you find G of a -4, please? Ryan, I would do what with a -4?
-4 squared minus 5.
All right, and notice the negative is squared also, right? So -4 squared is what, Ryan?
16.
16, positive minus 5, which is what, Ryan? 11. Tater, do you have a question on that? Okay, so now I'm going to go f of y minus 3. F of y minus 3. So explain to me how to do this. Ashley?
So 7 parentheses y minus 3 plus 8.
Very good. Now what?
So 7 times y
Which is 7y.
minus 21
Okay, notice how she distributed the 7.
plus 8.
Okay?
So it'd be 7y. This would be 7y plus, it would be 1 minus 8.
Negative 13, right? Do you have any questions on functions? Charlie, you look like you have a question. Yes?
I thought 7y minus 29.
7 times 3 is 21,
Yeah.
right? And then, so it's a negative 21, and the 8 is positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the 8 is positive, so it's 7y plus a negative 21 plus 8. These two are unlike, so I take the sign of the larger absolute value and I subtract. I don't add. Okay? All right, any questions? There is one bonus question. I will allow it on the test. I will allow it to be done for points. So, all right, your test is worth 30 points. It's tomorrow, right? Okay. All right, I think we're done then for the review.